Greetings everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zishan and today I'm back with another book review video. The book I would like to talk about is The Prophet. It's not long and complicated, it doesn't tell you do this or do that. It's full of imaginary, vivid pictures and beautiful words painted in our mind when we will read this book. Since it was published in 1923, it has never been out of print. It has sold more than 10 million copies all over the world. This classic book has been translated into more than 50 languages and it is considered as one of the staple books when it comes to the best-selling books. The name of the writer is Khalil Gibran. While talking about the author, Gibran is an Lebanese-American writer and poet. He was born in a Catholic family, but most of his writings were inspired from Muslim culture and background. He was deeply spiritual and his work were mostly inspired by Sufism. This is the book of 26 poetry fables. The Prophet begins with a man named Al-Mustafa who was living in an island called Orphalus. Locals considered him as something of a sage, but he was from elsewhere and he waited for 12 years for the right ship to come and take him back to his own place. From a hill above the town, he sees the ship coming into the harbor and realizes about the people he has to leave behind while going back to his home. The elders of the city asked him not to leave. As he leaves the place, people started to ask him about life, death, drinking, clothing, property, religion, relationship, and everything in between. If you ask me, I will say that the main theme of this book is how the universe and the individuals are intertwined. The main ideal the protagonist Al-Mustafa tried to convey was that love is the central of everything. But neither you find love or it finds you. It just comes and goes as it pleases. What made me amazed about this book is that how the writer conveys the message through the protagonist in a way which actually made the reader very much interested. Gibran vividly details the aspect of life and death in a prophetic way, hence the title. While the structure is narrative, the language that was used in the book was very poetic and rhythmic. The continuous repetition of and, but, so was used in this book while writing to explain the logics behind every little detail that was given in the book. A common misconception can be created by the title and many people already think that this is some kind of a religious book, but this is completely wrong. What is the best thing about this book is that it is completely universal. Anyone can read this book, whether you are a Christian, Muslim, Hindu or Buddhist or whatever you are. Many famous people were influenced by this book. Among them, John F. Kennedy, the Beatles, Indira Gandhi were just some of the names. As always, I don't explain every little details about the books and spoil the book for everyone. I will just share few of my points of the book that I found very interesting and it will encourage you to read this book as well. 7 most important lessons that I got from this book which I will share with you guys. Number 1. Love and separation. This book talked very deeply about love, human bonding, and also the relationship made by the process of marriage. The writers say that love knows not its own depth until the hours of separation. If you want to know how much you love someone, try to say goodbye to that person. While saying goodbye to the person, you will actually know the value of that person in your life. Sometimes we take others' presence in our life as granted and we don't realize that how much impactful that person is in our life. When the person is gone from our life, that time we feel the emptiness that was filled by the person who were in our life, and that is why valuing the person and the bonding is very important. Number 2, thirst for more. It's not a dread of thirst when your well is full. The thirst that is unquenchable, thirst for more is something we have all realized. For example, when I was a little kid, I had a small button phone which made me really happy. But then again, as I grew up, I changed my phone and I was always looking for some bigger and better things. As time went by, my hunger for more toward technology has increased. And I believe that I am not the only one. We all have something which we are really passionate about. When those things get a few days older, we try to exchange them with something bigger or better. This thirst for more is completely unquenchable. If you have everything that is enough to lead a stable life and still feel incomplete, more success, more money will not help you to overcome that. It is unlikely that success or possessions will fulfill you. It would be wiser to examine the thirst that we have and why we have that, rather than running after the things which is better than my current possessions. Number 3 is pain. The writers say that much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter portion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Now, these few words can be twisted and a little bit challenging to understand, but these things were more thought-provoking. We all experienced pain in our life, physical pain or emotional pain. These are the part of our life. But isn't it something that we choose? Pain is something unavoidable, but aren't we all guilty of making a pain much worse than it actually was? Number 4 is joy and sorrow. When you are joyous, look deep into your heart and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When we feel the happiness inside us, most of the time it was the sadness that we overcome that gave the happiness in our life. Overcoming the bad time is what makes us happy. The presence of both sadness and happiness is very important. Without the presence of one, appreciating the another one is completely impossible. It's like the two sides of the coin, and life requires both. The prophet says that sorrow curves our being and the way we are. This is kind of like the change of season. When the season of sorrow will be over, the joyous moment will come in our life. We just need to be patient and accept the sadness, because the true happiness will only come when you will be able to conquer the sadness that is occurring in your life currently. Number 5 is reason and passion. The relationship between passion and reasons is very fascinating. Neither is sufficient. These two things need to be well balanced. If you have untempered passion, it will destroy you, and untempered reasons will constrain you. You need to find a sweet spot of balance where your life will be very much easier to lead. Number 6 is work. We consider working as a curse. We human beings are very much addicted to comfort zone, and we always look for things that will not require much of an effort. This toxic desire is what makes our life a living hell. When we work, we're actually participating in the process of universal development. From every individual person, a simple effort combinedly can create a bigger impact. The prophet says you fulfill a part of Earth's furthest dream assigned to you when that dream was born. Through your work, you don't only earn livelihood for yourself, you serve other people, by which they will also get benefited from it. Those who actually enjoy their work, they know how enjoyable their life can be, and the process of working can be such a blessing. Number 7 is freedom. The longing for freedom is itself a slavery. When people speak wanting to be free, is what actually portrays that they are not independent. If you want to be independent, just move ahead and live your life as your own. Don't look for someone's validation to make you a free person. You are free of your own will. So these were the 7 interesting things that I learned or I gained from this book, which I believe if you read this book will help you a lot. Besides, I believe that it is a beautiful masterpiece where all those things were explained in such a way which will actually make people think. At last, I would like to say that Gibran's book is a metaphor of the mystery of life. We come into this world and we go back to the place where we came from. As the Prophet Al-Mustafa readies himself to go back to his ship, it is clear that his words doesn't refer the journey he is about to make, but to the world he came from. His life now seems to him like a small dream. This book suggests that we should be glad of the experience of coming to this world, even if it seems full of pain, because after death we will actually see a pattern and a purpose of the life we are living right now. And what seems to be so much confusing right now at this moment will definitely make a point. So that'll be all about this book review. I love reading this book and it was a great experience while reading the book. So I hope that this video was very helpful to you as well. Thank you so much.